Chapter-1. It all happened in the summer of 1941. I had the first darshan of Sri Ma Anandamayee in May that year at Simla, the summer capital of India. I was then serving in the Defense Department, which was at the time functioning from Simla. How we all remember that fateful year of 1941 and all the horrors and calamities let loose by the Second World War. One day at lunchtime, I decided to have a good walk to straighten my limbs and ward off the monotony of endless wartime work. I followed the road which leads to Simla Kalabari, a Kali temple cum residential establishment managed and run by the Bengali residents of Simla. As I came near it, I heard some kirtan going on inside the temple, accompanied by mridang and cymbals. I could distinctively hear the words of the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It was being sung in a melodious tune. I was seized with the curiosity to know the occasion for the kirtan, and with that end in view, I went right inside and found that the kirtan was being sung and conducted by a band of devotees by going round and round a centrally erected manch or altar inside a well-decorated big hall. For some time I stood entranced with the kirtan, but could not find anyone nearby to enlighten me about the occasion. So I decided to leave, and as I turned back to go, I saw a brahmachari approaching me from the other side. I at once seized the opportunity and asked him about the occasion for the kirtan, and he said, Ma Anandamayee is here, and that is why Ashtaprahar, the 24-hour non-stop kirtan, is going on. I said, I have heard the name of Mother, but I hadn't had the opportunity and good fortune to have her darshan so far. Is it by any chance possible to meet her now? His right hand pointed towards a set of rooms on the other side of the satsang hall, and he said, Ma is in one of those rooms. You may just try your luck. With these words, he hurriedly disappeared, leaving me in two minds as to whether it would be right and proper to invade the sanctum sanctorium at the inappropriate hour, which was lunchtime for all. After overcoming my hesitation and with a palpitating heart, I had taken only a few steps towards my goal when I found a burly middle-aged lady, apparently a close devotee of Ma, emerged from one of those rooms and moved quickly towards me as if to bar my advance. When she came and stopped before me with a grave air and stern look, my heart seemed to miss a beat. She was wearing a light yellow-colored dhoti, and her hair was cut short. I at once realized that I should not have encroached upon that prohibited area without permission or escort, and hence felt apologetic. In a deep voice, the lady asked, What do you want? I somehow mumbled, I hear that Ma Anandamayee is here, and I hadn't had the good luck so far to have her darshan. Is it possible to have her darshan now? The reply came in a more unhelpful and unwelcome tone. Do you think it is the proper time for darshan? It's about 1:30 now, and Ma is having a rest. You may come some other time. The reply convinced me that the god of luck was unkind to me. Moreover, the darshan of a saint was no easy come-and-go affair. Its prerequisites are devotion and sadhana, none of which I was endowed with. To crown it all, it was utterly wrong on my part to act out of bravado and seek darshan at an undisputedly wrong hour. The lady's reply made me shrink within. I didn't hazard any repetition of my request before the august personality. Without any further word, I decided therefore to retreat and proceeded towards the exit. This misadventure disheartened me a lot, and I quickened my steps to leave. No sooner had I approached the exit door than unexpectedly I heard the same lady address me in a softer tone. Are you really going away? I stopped, and on turning back, I found her standing at the same place now, in a relaxed attitude and not so unwelcome mood. But her question was not very clear to me, because after her summary dismissal of me with her firm declaration that mother was taking a rest and that darshan at that time was quite impossible, what else could I do but to go away? However, on my coming back to her, the following conversation ensued. What do you do here? I work here in the office of the Department of the Government of India. From where are you coming now? Direct from the office. It's now lunchtime. I see. Well, wait a minute. Let me see. With these words, she hurried towards the room from which she had emerged. I, on the other hand, stood perplexed, wondering at the sudden and unexpected turn of events, as well as change in the attitude of my questioner. A faint ray of hope then flashed into my mind at the possibility of fulfillment of my desire to have the darshan of Ma. But I did not have to wait long, for after a couple of minutes, the same lady beckoned me to her, and as soon as I came near, she whispered, Go inside. Ma is in. Do obeisance to her and come out at once. Do not attempt to talk to her, as it is now her resting time. I nodded to confirm that I would follow her instructions, and without tarrying for fear of being saddled with any further restrictions, I immediately entered the holy room, my journey's end. I subsequently came to know that the lady who was instrumental in arranging my first darshan of Ma at that seemingly wrong hour was none other than the person of the revered Didi Gurupriya Devi, who was the actual mother of Ma, and is not only a constant companion, but a noble soul who is constantly engaged in serving her daughter. Later on, when I was intimately acquainted with her, I came to know that Didi's exterior is as hard as nails, but her interior is softer than flowers. After gaining entrance into the mother's room in the manner mentioned, I observed at first only a mass of lustrous brilliance in the sitting posture on a cot, a mass that looked like a human form completely covered with a cloud of whiteness. I expressed my utter inability to explain in words the impact of that unearthly phenomenon. Was it due to the fact that I had entered mother's room after remaining quite some time in the blazing sunshine outside, and it took some time for my eyes to adjust vision to the semi-darkness inside the room? Or was it a stellar orbit of divine refulgence that always encircles Ma's divine being, but remains mostly invisible? I have since heard a few fortunate devotees say that they have seen such a circle of light around her face and head, as indeed this halo is always there. I therefore consider myself one of those fortunate few to whom Ma graciously granted a purified vision, a glimpse of her divine light. However, after a few moments, Ma's whole feature and her smiling divine face, which appeared to me like a flower in full bloom, became clearly visible. I at once realized that Ma, in her infinite kindness, drew me out for a while from the realm of darkness in order to grant me a glimpse of the world of light. Does this not testify to Mother's boundless, causeless, and unaccountable grace upon her children? I then did my obeisance to her and remained in a knelt-down position, pranam, thoroughly oblivious of everything of this world and dazed by the unforgettable vision that I had a few moments ago. I had the least awareness of Didi's stealthy entrance and the way she had positioned herself just behind me. I came to my normal self at the mild admonition of Didi, who hissed, Make haste, Ma will rest now. Before I obeyed her, I bent my head down on the ground to do obeisance, and as I raised my head, Ma asked, Do you live here in Simla? No, Mother. The office in which I work is now here. It remains here during the summer and moves down to New Delhi in winter. Ma nodded and said, "Come again." She then stretched out her right hand, and Didi, taking the hint, placed an apple in her hand, and Ma in turn gave it to me. I then did obeisance once again and came out of the room with my heart overflowing with joy and divine peace. I waited a couple of minutes outside Ma's room for Didi so that I could thank her and express my gratitude for arranging this unexpected and wonderful darshan of Ma. But minutes ticked away and Didi did not come out. My watch showed that the lunchtime was about to be over, and I therefore hurried towards the office. On my way to the office, I felt I was possessed with some wonderful delight and peacefulness to which I had hitherto been a stranger. My heart seemed to have been charged with some unearthly current, which had magnetized and soothed each little fiber and tissue in it. It was certainly my luckiest day to have an unexpected darshan of Ma, and that too at such an improper time. But one question was uppermost in my mind. How could it all happen? And how was the impossible suddenly turned into reality? The more I pondered over the sequence of events leading up to the darshan, the more I was drawn to the irresistible conclusion that all that happened at Ma's will and grace. Because first, the appearance of the brahmachari just at the right moment, when I was about to leave the place. Secondly, the presence of Didiji, as if from nowhere. And thirdly, her blunt order of dismissal first, and then sudden change of her mind, her calling me back, and ultimately arranging for the darshan. All these were nothing but unmistakable doings of Ma from behind, as if she was pulling the strings and directing the course of events through the brahmachari and Didi, who acted as mediums. Call it a miracle or mere coincidence, the very fact of allowing a petty person like me to have an untimely darshan and causing it to happen through her divine will is a clear example of Mother's aheta kripa, the spontaneous grace and boundless compassion. When I re-entered the office and sat at my desk, Ma's last two words, "Come again," continued to ring in my heart.